Hey there, welcome back once again. It is time for the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since. I'm looking to recreate the kind of conversations that we would have in the comic book shops on any given Wednesday. That used to be the new release day, or any day in the good old funny book bodegas that I've been proud to be a purchaser of their fine goods and services over the years. I love comic books, and if you do too, then you're at the right place at the right time. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. This is a 2004 Abrams publication, curated and written by Les Daniels, Jeff Spear, and Chip Kidd. There is a link to the Amazon page in the description if you want your own copy. It would look great on your coffee table, and it makes a great gift for a geek. And what goes better with a coffee table book and coffee table talk? Well, how about some freshly brewed, delicious coffee? Well, be careful, Sully. Don't spill that on your keyboard. But look at that steam coming from this fresh cuppa. Let me wet my whistle. Let me do that again. Oh, yeah. We have Disco House Blend today. It's sweet, it's nutty, it's bright, and it's fruity. It's also a medium roast. Oh, this is a light roast, to be honest, yeah. And it was roasted recently. Keep grinding, you know. Yeah, and Dell has these amazing new bags. That's his mission statement. Tune in. Here's some info. This is how to make a cup of coffee at home. You can do it. I use a French press, and I have a great cup of coffee. I do. And the golden age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, 1970 to 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. And I would love to talk more about the different ages of comic books that we are currently in, that we just left. I heard a really good description of this age of comics that we're starting right now, called the Iron Age, that we survived everything, that we've smelted off all the impurities, and we're left with a stronger steel to forge our swords with. Huzzah! Being a comic book fan is great, isn't it? And I would like to address something that I always address at the beginning of my show. It's called the escapism caveat. I have notes. I use show notes. I use notes. And escapism is important. And it needs to be there for us to leave behind this world's problems. Activism is everywhere. Activists are important. The world needs help. But activism does not have to be an active ingredient in everything. We need a break from the world's worries, whether it's in our comic books, in our fictions, in our TV series, in our churches, in our gaming, video games, in our sports. I mean, where hasn't activism just pushed themselves into and then treated the existing fan base as if they were something wrong with them or toxic because they're not beheld to this new message. It doesn't matter what the message is. What matters most is the using of this leverage. And if you're not into it, then you're othered. Seriously, I consider it now, and I'm seeing it as a pretty bright person who loves history. This is an intellectual and cultural colonialism. There's this, you can perceive activists as something like Christendom or the British Empire or the conquistadors, and or the Dutch, just this. There was a place with a population that was already there. They had their own culture, their own ways. They had a group identity, a group history, and group expectations as well. And they got along, and then in comes these invaders who are now insisting to using all of our resources for their advantage. and that and if you don't go along with their ideas and their religion, then you are othered and you are some kind of savage. It's exactly how I feel about being a fan these days. And that's the impact that activism is having. It's not having the intended impact anymore. It's just given me compassion fatigue. And we need to escape the world's problems just for a few minutes. Be a space pirate. Be a car racer. You get lost in a baseball game. Go to church and ask God for forgiveness. And don't worry about this mortal plane. Worry about your eternal soul. I mean, church is literally the place for that. And it goes on and on. But that's the escapism caveat. Escapism is just as important as activism. Do I respect the activist? Yes. Does the activist respect me? No. They just want to use our spaces as their platform. Exactly. It's not their fandom. It's their platform. It's a paradigm difference there. A parametric difference there. And let's get back to the fun stuff, please. Well, speaking of escapism, we're going to use this book for its intended purpose. We're going to crack the book open to today's date, which is July the 30th. And I hope you're having an awesome day. And I hope that you're not being clobbered by your problems. I hope you are clobbering them. Yes, it is July 30th. We're going to look at some Antediluvian art. We're going to read the blurb. And then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Let us get to it. And thank you so much for tuning in. I am blessed and grateful for you. This is interesting because it deals with food, and I am a professional chef by trade. We have 3 panels here. We got one. It looks like this place is in the mountains, and this is according to this first panel that is cropped. So we have wires. So it looks like this person is in a secluded place, yet. And he feeds a portion of his meal to his dog before he tries it. And then he realizes, that's the 5th dog in 2 weeks. Somebody in my house is poisoning my food. Dun, dun, dun. Let's read the blurb. Art by Ed Dobroktka. Yes, don't butcher people's names, Sully. People are sensitive about that these days. What aren't people sensitive about these days? I mean, I don't even think there's such thing as toxic masculinity anymore, or toxic this or fandom. I think there's just toxic oversensitivity. There's a point there somewhere. Good thing I'm wearing a hat to cover it. All right, this is art by Ed Dobroktka from Leading Comics number 4, fall of 1942. Quote, "The man who was afraid to eat is Carl Dennison, the once slim and handsome movie idol, now so ashamed of his appearance that he keeps attempts on his life a secret. It's a plot by the underworld gourmet known as Leo Palate, the man with the sense of super taste, and perhaps it's resentment over the silly superpower he was granted that has driven Palate to a life of comic book crime. The vigilante will have to give him a taste of justice." Indeed. Well, just know that no actual virtual dogs were harmed making this antediluvian entertainment. This happened a long time ago. No one's really advocating the harming of dogs and pets. I love dogs myself. And but yeah, it's food themed day. So let's talk a bit about food and comic books. I got 3 things to talk about. 1, this manga suggested to me by Yule Carter and Carrie from Nerdy Girl Creates, both great people and great stations. Tune into them and for good comic book conversation. This is Crazy Food Truck, and this is new. These are new comics. Yay! It's manga too. I love manga. I love Japanese animation. I've grown up on anime. See that Yamato? Yeah, that's my Yamato. Oh yeah, worth every penny. Love that thing. This is Crazy Food Truck. It's like Mad Max meets the Food Network, and it's about this guy who's got a shady history and kind of like in Firefly. He opens up a duffel bag he sees in the middle of the road, and in is a naked, beautiful girl who ends up being some kind of kick-ass, assassin without a memory or something. But she's got a huge appetite, and he's a cook. He's running a food truck. It's really fun, and it's daffy, and it's sexy, and it's weird, and it's everything I love about a manga. And part two comes out in August, and I'm in. Another one, let's see. I want to talk about DC Comics, of course, for a second, because this is what we talk about, DC Comics. One of my favorite Green Lanterns out of all the Green Lanterns. His name is Greet, and he's one of the Green Lanterns of OA, of Sector Zero. And what is he? He is the manager of OA's cafeteria. He is the cook for the multi races of the universe, all 3,600 sectors. Greet cooks for. I love this character. He was created, his first appearance was Green Lantern Volume 4, issue number 11, June of 2006. He was creators are Geoff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver. The origin, Sector 3443. But yeah, Oa is his planet. That's where he is. He's married, and yeah, that's it. I'm reading the wiki, the dc.fandom.com wiki, which is pretty good. These are really good sources of info. But I like Greet because he's a Green Lantern, and he's the chef. Enough said. I'm a chef. It's great coffee. And another one about food, cooking, and whatnot is Image Comics had this interesting title. It's called Chew, and it's by John Layman and Rob Guillory, and it was about Tony Chu, C-H-U. He's Chinese American, but Chu, C-H-E-W, is the name of the title. So you got the cleverness with the homophone of the proper name and the verb to masticate. Correct? You with me so far? Tony Chu solves crimes with his tongue. He is what they call a cybopath, where a cibopath, C-I-B-O-P-A-T-H, cibopath, where he can see memories from something that he's tasted, and he can't control it. There's like one really gross scene where he tastes a soup that the cook accidentally cut himself, but then he gets flashes of the cook's memories, and he's a serial killer, and so he takes him down. He's a police detective. It was a cute idea, and it only lasted for about, I think, like 27 issues or so. I'm not sure if it's still going on now, but give it a try. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Oh no, Chew goes up until issue 60, and then there's a couple of there is a volume 2 that runs 10 issues as well, apparently. So yeah, 60 issues. That's 5 years if you're publishing 12 issues a year. You know, that's just math. And yeah, and that's just, we're talking a little bit about food in comic books today. I'm a professional chef. I also make other content like the What's Cooking playlist. I'll leave that in the thingy below. The thingy below. Yeah. So thank you so very much for tuning in. It's been July 30th. And we've been talking about the golden age of DC Comics. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Excuse me. Too much coffee, huh? Like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. Tune in. We make daily content. Talk about gratitude, spirituality, cooking. We've got clear mornings. We can see planets. We point out the planets in the morning sky. We also have shorts of bunnies eating their breakfast. Nature moments of cuteness. I love doing that. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck, and we will see you again tomorrow in the funny pages. Cheers. Bye-bye.